Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Anshula and today we're going to be doing a Birmingham book shopping vlog. Now, I'm really excited to be filming this. Back in October last year, I visited Birmingham for the very first time. I am currently in Alabama. This is my first time visiting. I've been going around Birmingham and the book that I have picked up for this trip is No Place Like Home by Gary Young. I've been absolutely loving this book. I started reading it the first night that I arrived in Birmingham. We checked into the Eleton Hotel. This hotel has a rooftop bar that has these stunning views of Birmingham, and I wasn't expecting Birmingham to be as pretty of a city as it was. We went up to the rooftop, I read a book, ordered some pizza, and I just spent the night reading. Next day I was in Birmingham. I went on a wonderful walking tour of the Black Historic District through a company called Freedom Line Tours. And if you're ever in Birmingham or you're making a day trip, I highly recommend it. This is one of the best tours that I've ever been on. Our tour guide Antonio was able to provide so much information about these sites, places like 16th Street Baptist Church and Kelly Ingram Park, and some of the more popular sites in addition to some of the places in the 4th Street Historic District and the businesses and parks around there as well. Highly recommend this tour if you get a chance. Birmingham was a city that completely took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to love the city as much as I did. I asked everyone for local recommendations, from Uber drivers to shop owners, and there was one bookstore that everyone suggested. This was unanimously recommended. It was Thank You Books, which is a woman-owned bookstore that's fairly new to the city. It was established in 2019, so recent by indie bookstore standards, and today we're going to be checking out that particular bookstore. This bookstore is a medium-sized independent bookstore that carries a variety of different genres, from historical fiction to fantasy to poetry. There are lots of new releases, new books that are in mint condition, and there is a lot of literary fiction as well. They have beautiful editions of classics and so much more. I ended up picking up 3 books from this bookstore, which by my standards is a pretty big book haul. The first book I selected was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my favorite authors, and this was the book that got me hooked onto her writing. This book carries so many fond memories for me. I remember being in a reading slump, picking up The Poet X on a whim. I listened to it on audiobook and just being enraptured by the rhythm of the words, the lyricism, the sassiness. Xiomara Batista has such a strong, memorable voice. She yearns to say much, but she doesn't pour her heart out until she finds her groove with slam poetry. The Poet X is honestly one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. Even though I didn't love the neatness and tidiness of the ending, I am a hopeless sucker for pretty verses. is, and this provided me with just a whole lot of that. The stanzas are so vivid and emotive. This is a coming of age story at heart, and a lot of the themes coming to terms with your sexuality, accepting your body, finding your identity in a household that is suffocatingly religious are quite relatable. The Poet X is a book that made me feel emotions with a level of intensity I wasn't really aware of. This is one of the best YA contemporaries I've ever read. 5 out of 5 stars. You should definitely read it. I'm so happy that it's now part of my little library. The second book I picked up was My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. Korede works at a hospital. She has a crush on one of the doctors there. I think his name is Tade, from what I remember. Tade takes an interest in Korede's sister Ayula, and Korede is concerned because she is convinced that her sister is a serial killer. I mean, all of the evidence points to it. After all, 3 of her sister's boyfriends have turned up dead in a row. So basically what happens is they meet Ayula, they pop off somehow, and Ayula gets away with murder pretty much every time, and Korede is the one cleaning up the mess. This creates a very interesting dynamic between the sisters and sets the ground for a light thriller that's ultimately about the bonds of sisterhood. But My Sister the Serial Killer is also about fighting with your moral conscience when you're in a deeply enmeshed relationship. I found the ending to be really fascinating because it was truthful to Korede's character and the very slow, almost aggravating pace of Korede's character development. She didn't end up making the choices that I hoped she would, or choices that would absolve her of some of her guilt, but she did make choices in tune to her conditioning and her beliefs and how she's been told to feel and act. My Sister the Serial Killer is dark, it's deadpan, it's fast-paced with incredibly short chapters that are just easy to breeze through. I really enjoyed this, and I wanted a physical copy because it seemed like it would be really fun to reread, and I'm hoping to reread this either this month or next month. The last book that I picked up was Ain't Burnt All the Bright. One of you commented about this book saying it was one of your best books of 2022, and I immediately added it to my TBR. I believe that this is about a Black family during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a mixed media book, and honestly it looks absolutely beautiful. I haven't read it yet, so that's all I know about it, but I'm really excited to get to it. Those are all of the books that I picked up from Thank You Books. Let me know what book you're currently reading and loving right now, what I should pick up on my next book shopping spree. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!